In a small German village long ago, there lived a clever little tailor whose wit would one day make him legendary. Hans the tailor was small in stature but mighty in cleverness, known throughout the village for his nimble fingers. By the way, medieval tailors often worked 12 hours a day by candlelight, straining their eyes on intricate stitching. One morning, his hungry stomach growled as the sweet voice of a jam seller floated through his window.
Good morning. I would like a small portion of your finest sweet jam, please. He bought just enough to spread on a single slice of bread, for tailors earned little in those days. Eager to finish his work, Hans placed the jam-covered bread aside for later and returned to stitching. But hungry flies, drawn by the sweet aroma, soon swarmed upon his precious meal. You greedy little thieves! That bread was meant for me!
With one mighty swing, the clever tailor decided to take revenge upon the buzzing intruders. In a single stroke, he struck down all 7 flies at once.
7! 7 at one blow! This is truly a heroic feat worth celebrating. The whole world must know of my mighty deed. I shall make a belt to proclaim my glory.
Did you know? Medieval embroidery often took weeks to complete, with each letter stitched by hand using gold or silver thread.
With this belt, I shall venture forth into the wide world to seek my fortune.
Filled with newfound pride, Hans set out from his village with only his wits and a piece of cheese in his pocket. The world seemed full of promise to the young tailor, who believed himself a great hero. The belt proclaimed his deed to all who saw it, though none knew the truth of his small enemies. Along the way, he caught a small bird, which he placed gently in his pocket beside his cheese. His journey led him into the rugged mountains, where adventure awaited. He soon entered a land rumored to be inhabited by terrible giants who terrorized the countryside.
Did you know? In folklore, giants were often depicted as obstacles representing fears that ordinary people must overcome with cleverness.
Giants, you say? Well, a man who has slain 7 at one blow fears nothing.
With courage powered more by pride than wisdom, he pressed onward into the giant's domain.
A great rumbling noise like thunder soon caught his attention.
There before him slept the first of the mighty giants.
Most men would have fled in terror, but the clever tailor saw an opportunity instead.
His sharp mind began to form a plan that would test his wit against brute strength.
Wake up, mighty giant! I have come to challenge you!
Who dares disturb my slumber, you puny little creature?
Behold my belt, mighty giant. I am he who slew 7 at one blow.
7 at one blow? Then prove your strength against me, little man.
To prove his might, the giant lifted a huge stone with terrifying ease. He squeezed the rock so hard that drops of water dripped from its surface to the ground.
Can you do this, little tailor? Show me your strength.
With cunning quickness, Hans pulled out the soft cheese he had been carrying.
That is nothing. Watch this, mighty giant, and behold my true strength. By the way, in many fairy tales, clever heroes use ordinary objects to outwit powerful enemies through clever substitution.
Impossible! You truly squeezed water from a stone.
Not to be outdone, the giant threw a great stone so high it vanished from sight.
But the clever tailor had another trick in his pocket, ready for just such a moment. My stone has flown so high, it shall never return to earth.
You truly are a mighty warrior. No man has ever bested me so. Come with me, little hero. Meet my brothers in our cave.
He led Hans to a massive cave where his giant brothers lived in fearsome company. Inside, two more enormous giants stopped their evening tasks to gape at the tiny visitor.
Brothers, this little man squeezed water from stone and threw a rock to the heavens. This tiny thing? Brother, you must be losing your wits in your old age. If he is so mighty, let him sleep here tonight. We shall test him in the morning.
They offered him a bed meant for a giant, far too large for one so small. Sensing danger, the clever tailor pretended to sleep, but stayed wide awake.
Suspecting treachery, Hans hid himself far from the bed where danger might find him.
In the dead of night, the largest giant tried to crush the little tailor with one mighty blow. The mighty club shattered the bed where Hans should have been sleeping.
That tiny boaster shall trouble us no more.
At dawn, the giants left the cave, sure their little troublemaker was destroyed.
Their crude trick is no match for a clever tailor's wit. Now I must continue my journey.
With another adventure behind him, the brave tailor continued his journey into wider lands.
His travels eventually brought him to the gates of a great kingdom, where his legend would grow.
The market bustled with merchants from far and wide, but all eyes turned to read his curious belt.
Citizens whispered and gawked at the bold proclamation of his belt.
Stranger, your belt tells of mighty deeds. The king himself will wish to meet you. Did you know? Medieval castles often had multiple defensive gates and walls to protect against invaders.
He was led before the kingdom's wise old king in a hall of dazzling splendor.
So you are the warrior who slew 7 at one blow? Your fame precedes you.
Your Majesty, I am at your service. My belt speaks but a small part of my deeds.
The Prime Minister whispered an idea that would test the little tailor's true mettle.
2 terrible giants plague my kingdom. Slay them, and you shall have great rewards.
2 giants? Your Majesty, consider them defeated. I accept your noble quest.
At that moment, the beautiful princess entered the hall and saw the brave little tailor.
By the way, in medieval romances, princesses often represented the ultimate reward for brave heroes who proved their worth.
Succeed in this quest, brave tailor, and my daughter's hand and half my kingdom shall be yours.
I swear upon my life, Your Majesty, I shall return victorious, or not at all.
Armed with sword and shield, the brave tailor set forth to find the dreaded giants. They rode deep into the haunted forest, where the giants made their lair.
I dare not go further, brave sir. The giants are too terrible to face.
Wait for me here. This task I shall complete alone, with wit as my weapon. Alone, he ventured into the heart of the giant's territory, armed only with his cleverness. Following sounds like rolling thunder, he discovered his terrible quarry.
There the two terrible giants slept peacefully beneath the spreading branches of an ancient oak.
Once more, his quick mind devised a plan that brawn alone could never achieve.
Did you know? In folklore, clever tricksters often turn their enemies against each other to defeat foes too powerful to face directly.
Climbing carefully into the great tree above them, he prepared his ingenious plan. From his hidden perch high in the tree, he readied his first stone.
He dropped a heavy stone upon the chest of the first sleeping giant. Why do you strike me, brother? Cease your nonsense at once! What madness is this? I did not strike you, fool. They settled back into uneasy slumber, suspicions now planted between them.
Hans waited until they slept again, then dropped a stone upon the other giant.
You dare strike me, treacherous brother! You shall pay for this! In their fury, the giants attacked each other with terrible violence.
The clever tailor watched with delight as his plan unfolded perfectly.
Their battle tore up trees and shook the earth itself with terrible violence.
Their fists fell like hammers, each blow more terrible than the last.
At last, the first giant fell mortally wounded by his brother's hand.
The other giant, weakened by mortal wounds, soon fell beside his slain brother.
With his enemies defeated by their own hands, the tailor descended from his perch.
And so the great warrior Hans triumphs once again over his mighty foes.
By the way, in tales like these, true heroism often means using wit and wisdom over physical strength. With both giants defeated, the brave tailor began the journey back to the castle.
You return alive? Truly, you are the mightiest warrior in all the land.
News of his victory spread like wildfire across the kingdom before he even returned. Townspeople lined the roads to glimpse the legendary hero who saved their lands.
My brave hero returns victorious. All the kingdom rejoices in your triumph.
Your Majesty, the tailor's influence is growing too strong, but not everyone in the court was pleased with the tailor's growing fame.
A terrible unicorn ravages our lands. Capture it alive, and your reward shall be greater still.
As you command, Your Majesty, I shall bring you this unicorn alive. He rode alone into the enchanted forest, where the wild unicorn made its home.
Did you know? Unicorns in legend were said to be impossible to capture except by the most clever or pure of heart.
There he found the magnificent unicorn, drinking peacefully from a hidden spring.
The unicorn sensed his presence and turned its golden horn toward the intruder. The unicorn charged with deadly intent, but the clever tailor had a plan.
Now I have you, magnificent creature. Your wild days are at an end.
Easy now, beautiful one. No harm shall come to you, only a journey home.
With cunning instead of force, he led the magnificent beast back to the kingdom.
Impossible. No mortal has ever captured a unicorn alive. But the jealous Prime Minister was not yet finished testing the brave tailor. He persuaded the king to set yet another impossible task for the tailor. A wild boar terrorizes our hunters in the forest. Capture it, and the princess shall truly be yours.
For the third trial, Hans ventured into the wild boar's territory, deep in the forest.